Hello everyone, it's Shane Kanto, your Wasteland reviewer, and I'm here to review They Call Me Magic. And this is a new documentary series from Apple TV Plus from director Rick Famuyiwa and focuses on the story of Earvin Johnson Jr., or Magic Johnson, that most people knew him as, the Hall of Fame and acclaimed basketball star whose career was cut short so tragically by his diagnosis with HIV, and the incredible work that he has done since in the business world in terms of charities and foundations, in terms of awareness for HIV and AIDS research. And this documentary is very well structured, broken into 4 pieces, and tells 4 very distinct tales. You have his earlier life growing up. You have his story going through college when that rivalry with Larry Bird first sparks, and then going into the NBA. You have an episode really focusing on his prime, and throughout those episodes focusing on his relationships as well, his his relationship with his wife and how that has evolved over time. The third episode is where you really get into how his career really came to an end with AIDS and everything. And then the last episode takes his almost post-NBA, like the trickling pieces of what was left of it and what he's been able to accomplish post, in terms of, like, he owns the Dodgers, he owns the LA Sparks, he owns American soccer or football team, and all these different kinds of things. His relationship with his children, his adopted daughter, his son who turned out to be gay, and all of these different kinds of things in between. And it's a really well-structured, really well-made sports documentary, and I'm a huge fan of music docs, I'm a huge fan of sports docs. They're both things that I'm a huge fan of. I haven't been the biggest basketball fan since I was a kid. Probably haven't really regularly watched basketball since probably 2004, 2005. I was a Nets fan. I remember when they made the NBA Finals a couple times. But, like, I never watched Magic Johnson play basketball. But I remember Last Dance, that documentary series blew me away with Michael Jordan and the Bulls. And this isn't quite on that level, but does paint an amazing portrait of Magic Johnson, who he is. You get to see him. And what I appreciate about this documentary is he's honest. He doesn't shy away from his shortcomings. Like, they don't dig too deep in his infidelities and what led him to, probably getting HIV in the first place. But, like, there's moments where he's like, yeah, I had sex with like 6 women at the same time. And you're just like, oh my God. And it's just like, he was honest about that kind of stuff. And that's what led him to that place. And that unprotected and just free-spirited sex and interactions. But what I love too about this documentary, it really captures the competitive spirit of basketball. And this is such an interesting companion to what we've seen in Winning Time, the new series on HBO. And, Dr. Jerry Buss and Magic Johnson and Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. And that first season, Magic was on the team, and you have that story here, but you actually hear from Pat Riley, and you hear from Jerry West, and get those perspectives. You get to hear from Magic and how he enjoyed being messed around with by Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, and you hear from Kareem and, like, his perspective on things. I feel like this film does a great job of bringing these great characters and capturing these people and their spirit and their personalities on screen, and they tell a great story. Magic Johnson has a fascinating life, and it's thoroughly entertaining series. It's 4 hours, it's 4 episodes, an hour apiece, and especially if you do have that connection with basketball, you'll definitely get more out of this. But even somebody who hasn't watched basketball in years still found this fascinating and appreciate the competitive spirit and the competition, because I am a sports fan. I love baseball, I love football, and being able to see this story being told, and Apple has a winner on their hands here, definitely worth checking out. But those are my thoughts on They Call Me Magic. Let me know what you think, and let's talk some TV. But thank you as always for tuning in and supporting your Wasteland reviewer.